The statement A is P% of B can be summarized by the following percent equation, where A is equal to P% times B. The general format is going to be in the form of some number is some percent of another number. Whereas the first number is called the amount. That's the number with a certain characteristic, and it's the value of the part. The percent is the percent with the same characteristic as with the amount. And then the base is basically the whole thing, or at least the original amount total. So some notes here. There are three quantities. There's the amount, the percent, and the base. And usually two of them will be known and one of them will be unknown. And the job for you would be to solve for that unknown. And also keep in mind that when we use this equation, the percent should be rewritten as a decimal. It'll just make the math a lot easier. So there are three types based on what you know and what you need to find. So the first type is where you know the percent and the base, but you don't know the amount. So a typical question can be rephrased or phrased as, what is P% of B? So translating that in mathematics, what is our X? That's our unknown. Is replaced with the equals. And then we have the P%. The word of is basically multiplication times B. So in the strategy to solve these types of problems when you're trying to find the base is you multiply the base times the percent. So for example, what is 12% of $30? Well, we write 12% as a decimal, so 0.12, multiply it by 30, and you end up with $3.60. So if I ask you, what is 18% of 600? Again, the strategy is our unknown is the amount. So I'm doing 0.18 times 600. And that comes out to be, 0.18 times 600. So I get 108. For part B, what is 175% of 820? So again, the word what, that is my unknown. 175% is 1.75 as a decimal. And I multiply that by 820. So I got 1.75 times 820. I get 1,435. Equations of type 2 are basically where you know the amount and the base, but you do not know the percent. So a typical question would be in the form of A is what percent of B? So in this case, we have A equals what percent times B. The word of can be multiplication, so this is A is equal to X percent times B. So in this case, what we do is we divide both sides by that base, and that gives us A over B is equal to that X percent. So the strategy here is we divide A by B, then we rewrite the quotient as a percent. So if I ask you 6 is what percent of 8? Well, I go 6 divided by 8 is 0.75, which is 75%. So 7 is what percent of 28? Again, as translated, 7 equals what percent times 28. So in this case, 7 over 28, that is 1/4, which is 0.25, or it is 25%. If I ask you 28 is what percent of 7, this would be 28 is equal to X percent times 7. So in this case, I'd go 28 divided by 7, which is 4. And as a percent, that would be 400%. So 28 is 400% of 7. And then the third type is where you know the amount and the percent, but you're looking for the base. So in this case, A equals P% times our unknown. In this case, I would divide by the p%, so it's amount divided by that p% is equal to our base. So the strategy to solve this type of problem is you'll rewrite the percent as in decimal form, then divide the amount by that percent. So for example, 5 is 25% of what? Well, that's going to be 5 divided by 0.25, and that comes out to be 20. So 320 is 25% of what? So this would be 320 is equal to 0.25 times some unknown. So in this case, I'd go 320 divided by 0.25. And that would be 1,280, I believe. Let's check. 320 divided by 0.25 is 1,280. And then part B, 900 is equal to 120%, which would be 1.20 times our unknown. So we're going 900 divided by 1.2. And I put 750. So 900 is 120% of 750.